Welcome back to the Movie Studio. So today I'm going to be doing something that I never really thought I would be doing again, and that is talking about Riverdale. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so Riverdale, I'm just going to be kind of just talking about the first episode and all that kind of stuff. But before we get into it, I just have a couple quick things to say. First of all, if you can please subscribe, I really appreciate it. I'm trying to reach a goal of hitting 200 subscribers before the end of 2020. I think this is a possible goal. If you guys all go subscribe, I really appreciate it. Besides that, if you have any video suggestions down below, I would really appreciate it. Riverdale is just something I'm doing to make up some time, so yeah, if you enjoy me talking about Riverdale, just go ahead and hit that like button, smash that like button. I would really appreciate it. Also, if you can please go check out my links below, Whoopi Studio Gang, Instagram, Patreon, and Twitch. I would really appreciate it. And comment down below if you are a Riverdale fan and you can engage with me as we talk about these plot points. Let's go ahead and get into the review. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about an announcement really quick. I decided for fun that I will be recapping every episode of Riverdale Season 1. They will release on Thursdays starting August 6th, with my review of the second episode coming out Sunday, August 2nd. So stay tuned for all these fun things coming out. I'm so excited. I think that it's going to be awesome. So, yeah. So, yeah, stay tuned for that coming out. So, we're going to go ahead and start by talking about the character. Sorry it cut off at the bottom, but Google Slides is really annoying that it cuts off, or it just the screen share that I'm using it takes some of the bottom words off. But let's start with Archie Andrews. He is the main character in this. So a football jock who is currently deciding either music or football. He is in a illegal relationship with a music teacher and is trying to keep his dad proud of Andrews' construction. He's also stuck in a love triangle between Betty and Veronica. So right off the top, Archie is definitely a jock. And later in the series, I've watched all of the series and I'm starting back over again. I've noticed that he's definitely dumb. He's definitely made some dumb decisions. I mean, but a little bit more than most kids have. Typically, later on, I'm disappointed in Archie's character because he always gets put in filler storylines. He never gets his own. He never gets treated like the main character. Betty and Jughead are treated as the main characters. And here, Archie's treated as the main character. Him and Betty are the main characters. But later on, Betty and Jughead become way more important, and then Archie's just kind of left in the dust. So that's kind of disappointing. But right now, I appreciate that we're getting a lot of Archie screen time because Archie comics is what the story is based on. So it's really nice to be able to have that that to relate to because Archie comics is one of the most popular things in the world. Most popular comics, I would say. There's a lot more comics out there, but it's definitely very popular. The love triangle, Andrew's construction and the music teacher thing. The music teacher thing, well, I did not like, but I'll talk about that later. And Andrew's construction is a pretty big set piece in season 1. It does appear in season 4, but it's not that popular. And the classic love triangle between him, Betty, and Veronica is back in Riverdale. So Betty Cooper is a straight-A student. Her mom is a control freak, Alice Cooper, which I think is really funny because of the wrestler. She has had a long-time crush on Archie and makes friends with Veronica and tries out for cheerleading. So Betty is just that classic girl next door. And that phrase is put out there a lot. She lives next door to Archie. She's had this long-time crush on Archie. She just got back from a writing camp or something like that. And now she's here to finally admit to Archie her feelings, but then Veronica gets in the way. But you wouldn't really expect Betty to trap for cheerleading because that's not Betty. That's not that person. So it was kind of confusing, but I really do enjoy these different things that happen. Okay, so let's talk about Betty Cooper. No, not Betty Cooper. Veronica Lodge. So Veronica is the challenging girl, and her father, Hiram Lodge, have a lot of bantering later in the series, but especially seasons 3 and 4. Season 2 is kind of like a mixture, but seasons 3 and 4 are definitely the most where they're bickering. But Veronica is from New York, and her dad's in prison currently. She comes with her mom, Hermione. She has a crush on Archie. She makes friends with Betty and tries out for cheerleading. Now, Veronica is what you would call a sassy girl, definitely. I mean, you can see that she's making all kinds of references right off the top because that is who her character is. So it'll be interesting to see what happens later on with her character in future seasons. So let's talk about Jughead Jones. He's an introverted writer. He's kind of nerdy. Archie's former best friend. He spends a lot of time at Pops and has an obsession with hamburgers. That's kind of what I got from him from this first episode. So I really Jughead is definitely my favorite character. So you guys should stay tuned for my opinion on him. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and kind of get to my overall thoughts of this first episode of How to Tie Riverdale. So, pretty much, A high school student, Jason Blossom, was murdered at Sweetwater River on the 4th of July. The mystery is trying to be solved. His sister Cheryl is grieving over his loss very emotionally. So this is the main storyline. Jason Blossom has been murdered, and of course we're trying to figure out who did it and what really happened. We know that his sister Cheryl was with him, so she has some part in it. But I feel like they did a good job in season one about explaining Jason Blossoms, which is more I can say about later seasons because the mysteries are so weird, and Jason Blossoms actually made sense because the mystery was set in the high school world, and I love that. So I really did enjoy this storyline. But just by the first episode, we have some clues about that. So let's talk about Archie's storyline. So Archie Andrews is currently deciding either music or football. Later in the series, we do see that he is currently involved in both. Season 4 definitely brought some throwback to that. But I'm not sure like what's going to happen. It's like because I feel like Archie does have a good music side and a good football side, but I almost feel like Miss Grundy brought out the worst in him when it comes to music. That I think he's afraid to step back into it. And the good news is that he was with Valerie and Josie. Valerie in season 1, Josie in season 3, and those helped him get back into music. But now no one's Veronica's kind of into music, and the Archies is bringing him back into music. But I feel like with the Pussycat, the music side shown up with him more. So I do love how they brought the Archies back, though. So now let's talk about him and Miss Grundy, and this is probably the most frustrating plotline ever here. Main reason is because it's a student and a teacher in a relationship, and it's really bad. But pretty much, they were at Sweetwater River the day Jason was shot, so they were like hanging out, and then he gets caught between Betty and Veronica, makes out with Veronica, and tells Betty that he loves her, but he can't be with her. And this is kind of like Betty and Archie almost like ending in the first episode. I feel like now they really want to focus on Archie and Veronica, or maybe, well, now Archie and like another someone else. Because I feel like if they're gonna kill Archie and Betty off in the first episode, they have other plans for relationships later on. So, but to be honest, if I was gonna choose one that I like better, it would have to be Archie, and it would have to be Archie and Veronica. And I love Archie and Betty, but you can see how I think that he would be perfect for her. They would be perfect for each other. I think that they would make a good couple. But you can see the friendship vibes between them. And Archie and Veronica, like you can see also the chemistry between them. You can see how much passion was put into that kiss. It wasn't like forced. It was like very romantic. And I think the flirtation vibe. Archie's kind of clueless, but Veronica's very like flirty. I think that it works better that way in that type of dynamic, but I think that also I love Archie and Betty together too. And later on in the series, we do get to see more of that, but I don't like them as a couple as much as Archie and Veronica, at least now. Later in the series, I may have a different opinion, but so kind of let's talk about Hiram Lodge for a second. Hiram Lodge isn't in this episode; he's in jail. But I kind of want to talk about Fred and Hermione for a second. All through season 1, they grow closer, but now Fred Andrews can't hire Hermione Lodge because he's worried about her relationship with Hiram, which is fair. But I think that Hermione and Fred in season 1 are like on point. They're some of my favorite. That was a storyline that I loved. It wasn't a fair, but I think that they were really cute together, and I love how they brought Archie and Veronica together more because without that, I don't think that we would have really gotten. It wouldn't have made sense to have for Archie and Veronica to get together later in the season. I think that Fred and Hermione really, it was good. I really liked it. So I think that it's fair, but I think that later on we're going to get to see more of that. So let's talk about Polly and Jason for a second. So Betty's sister Polly dated Jason, which is why Betty and Cheryl don't get along. I'll be interested to see what more details come up. I know that there is something to do with the Sisters of Quiet Mercy, so it'll be really interesting to see what happens with that. Again, I have not seen Riverdale season 1 for a while. I remember some things, but there's a ton of stuff that I do not remember. So cut me some slack as I talk about this more. Okay, so let's talk about some episode awards. So my favorite moment is Jughead's narration. I love his narration. I think that Jughead is my favorite character in Riverdale, so it'd be exciting to see that grow. My most shocking moment is the Archie and Miss Grundy relationship. I did not like that. I don't think that anyone liked it. It was definitely... I didn't like it. I really didn't. It was definitely inappropriate, and I do not want to see that type of relationship in a show. My favorite characters are the core four. I love Archie, Betty, Veronica, and Jughead. My least favorite characters, all the adults besides Fred and Hermione. I like those too, but all the adults, like Betty's parents, who else? Cheryl's parents, all of them I do not like, and we haven't met Jughead's parents yet. But my least favorite, my overall grade is an A+. I love this pilot, and I'm excited to review the rest of Riverdale season 1. Okay. So without further ado, I do want to thank everyone for watching Movie Studio. Again, comment down below if you like that I'm reviewing all of Riverdale Season 1 over again. Again, each Thursday besides next week. So, yeah, and I might do a Riverdale comic video soon, so stay tuned for that, maybe next month sometime. And I think that would be a lot of fun. So, again, probably not going to do after Season 1 because I do not like the later seasons. But yeah, so anyways, I want to thank everyone for watching Movie Studio. Stay tuned for more videos to come. Like, comment, and subscribe, turn your post notifications so you never miss a video. And bye.